good boxing fans, Canelo Alvarez, my goodness, the man. He is currently sparring the perfect sparring partner to help him prepare for Terence Crawford. Now, before we talk about his famous sparring session with Jaron Ennis that just took place, let me break down to you. If you actually go back and look at my videos over the last few weeks, I broke down every single style of Canelo Alvarez sparring partners. Now, first off, I talked about Darrell Valsaint, the tall, slick, powerful and young southpaw. Darrell Valsaint, he was his first sparring partner, 23-year-old, 6'2", dangerous, hard-hitting southpaw. The man's record is 13 wins, no losses, 11 wins by knockout. And the man recently just fought on Pro Box versus Orozco, the man who Conor Ben fought in his comeback fight after serving the suspension for PEDs. Canelo first brought Darrell as the first sparring partner, and then he also brought in, well, actually, he sparred Valsaint mainly to prepare for the Crawford style as a southpaw, but he also brought in an absolute monster to help him prepare if Terence Crawford fights in the orthodox stance. And that man is none other than the Cuban monster, who I also made a video about. His name is Yoanelli Hernandez, also 6'2", also dangerous, hard-hitting. 8 wins, no losses, 7 by knockouts. His only win that went the distance was his last fight. His first step up, to be fair, versus the former Olympic alternate, Jaron Davis. Even though he didn't knock him out, but let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, he absolutely changed the man. He gave him the beating of his life. Jaron took so much damage in that fight. He will never be the same, I believe. You can actually check out that fight on your Prime account. The fight is there for free for you to watch. He fought him on the undercard of Caleb Plant versus Armando Resendiz. They fought on that card, and let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, he took a lot of punishment, Jaron did. And Yoanelli is actually the perfect sparring partner if you want to prepare for Terence Crawford, even though Crawford fights mostly in the southpaw stance. But let me tell you this, Yoanelli, his fighting style, he's so powerful, he's so ferocious, he's so dangerous. But his power punches, he doesn't rely on his backhand as the power punch. Just like Crawford, he punches you with the hand that is available when he's in position to always land an accurate, powerful shot. Meaning, if you actually think about it, when Terence Crawford dropped Errol Spence in that first knockdown with the 2-1, now, he didn't throw the 2 to knock him down. He didn't throw the hook, the check hook, but he threw the 1 to knock him down, because that was the perfect punch at the perfect time when he was standing in the perfect position to land that punch. And the same thing goes for Yoanelli Hernandez. When he fought Jaron Davis, he also dropped him with the 2-1. But his 2 was the backhand, the right hand, and his 1 was the left hand. And he dropped Jaron with the same sequence that Bud dropped Spence, even though it was the opposite hand. But what I mean is, they both have the same mindset, the same shot selection. When you talk about landing a power shot, they don't rely on their backhand. They rely on the punch that's available. And Canelo Alvarez needs to have sparring partners like that. Boom, sparred him, got incredible work from him. But now, ladies and gentlemen, Canelo Alvarez just sparred Jaron Ennis. Some might call him the younger version of Terence Crawford. Now, before I break it down, ladies and gentlemen, and break down Jaron's style and his punch selections versus Crawford's punch selections, what do they have in common? They are both switch hitters, but Crawford is predominantly a southpaw, and Ennis I mean, how can you know when it comes to switch hitters, how come you know what's their most comfortable side? When you talk, I'll tell you the answer. The answer is when you talk about the defense. Crawford is more defensively responsible in the southpaw stance. And I believe that Jaron Ennis is more confident and more comfortable when it comes to his defense in the orthodox stance. But that is not a problem when you talk about in comparison to sparring someone like Canelo. I'll tell you why. Because Canelo is getting the perfect package. He brought in a dangerous southpaw who punches hard with both hands. He brought in a dangerous orthodox whose his lead hand is his power hand. And he also brought in, who he just fought, Jaron, who's a switch hitter. So Canelo Alvarez, I mean, listen, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't really think that Canelo was gonna bring in such sparring partners. I really didn't. I was like, you know what? And that is why I've been switching my pick. When this fight got announced, I picked Canelo. And then when I didn't see anything from Canelo, any big sparring partners, I was like, you know what? Crawford is probably gonna win this fight. But the moment that if you go back to my videos, I posted a video a couple of weeks ago where I was like, the video's title is I changed my pick, Canelo versus Crawford. And on that week, the reason why I changed my pick was for two reasons. One, because I saw him sparring Ioanelli and Durrell Valsaint, and I dropped separate videos for both. And also, because I rewatched Canelo versus a slick southpaw, which was Billy Joe Saunders. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, that was probably the best Canelo that I have ever seen, when facing a southpaw especially. Now, yes, of course, we can't compare Billy Joe to Crawford. Billy Joe is way less talented. Crawford hits way harder. Crawford is way sharper. Like Billy Joe, even though he fought Canelo at 168, but if you actually think about it, Billy Joe, I mean, his genetics are horrible. And the man doesn't hit hard. You know that Billy Joe, 65% of his punches are just flick jabs. So basically, Billy Joe's punch arsenal is very limited. But it doesn't matter. I'll tell you why. Because when I watched Canelo in that fight, Canelo's IQ is what impressed me. And his shape. He was very light. And I'm going to make actually a separate video, probably either tonight or tomorrow, about Canelo's perfect KO punch versus Crawford. And I saw it a mile away from that Billy Joe fight. There's one thing that Billy Joe does very well that Crawford also does. And they do it in the same motion. And I believe that will give Canelo a massive advantage. But getting back to the sparring partners, listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. I love Crawford. He is one of my favorite fighters ever. But I gotta be honest. Canelo Alvarez has brought the perfect sparring partners. And even though, like I said, Crawford will fight Canelo mostly in the southpaw stance. But I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, even the orthodox that Canelo is sparring, his shot selection is very similar to Crawford. But let's not be mistaken. No one can compare to Crawford when you talk about the sparring partners of Canelo. And no one from the sparring partners of Crawford can compare to Canelo. And that is what makes this fight beautiful. But they definitely won't hurt. They definitely will help. They definitely just increased Canelo's chances. I mean, listen, who wins this fight? I'll tell you who wins this fight. The one who's more prepared for this fight is the one who's going to win this fight, ladies and gentlemen. And from the sparring videos, from the sparring partners, from their styles, from their attributes, Canelo proved something to me. Canelo proved that he's hungry. And he might just very well be hungrier than ever. For greatness, for glory, to prove to the world that you guys must have forgot how great I am. I'm going to show you how great I am. And how does he show that? I'll tell you how. By bringing in young, hungry assassins as his sparring partners. And he did bring them in. And oh my goodness, Canelo Alvarez just increased his chances by 1,000,000 miles to win this fight. And you know what? This is one of, like, every now and then you get a big fight where you love both guys so much that you don't really care who wins. You just want to see them perform at their best and exit the ring healthy. And in all honesty, I mean, I like both men inside the ring, but I like Canelo more outside of the ring because I posted a video about what he did, donating $30 million to Gaza. That alone makes me a Canelo fan for life and a Canelo supporter for life. But when you talk about them, both of them, Canelo and Crawford, inside the ring, they are both incredible. Just incredible, ladies and gentlemen. And even though I am favoring Canelo now, even though I would, a lot of things are changing by the day. So stay tuned. I will be giving my final prediction on fight week. On fight week, I'm going to make a video, long video, giving every single advantage and disadvantage and attribute and a complete storyline of how their training camps went from what we know, and I'm going to give you guys the winner. But for now, as of today, Canelo Alvarez is sparring 3 absolute monsters who will help him leave Allegiant Stadium with every single belt in boxing, and to be honest, in one of the greatest and biggest fights the sport will ever see.